You're watching Daybreak Live here on a Hump Day Wednesday. We're joined by, of course, a gentleman who needs no introduction to you, Bryan Taunton, Executive Director of the CDA. Bryan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
Good to have you with us today. And the primary election yesterday, not a lot of people got out and vote.
You know, that's one thing about our area. We traditionally have such a low voter turnout, and I hate that. I wish more people would be proactive and would get out and turn out to the polls and express their opinions. We seem to have no problem expressing them on social media.
That's true. That's true.
Whether or not they'll get to the polls and vote is a different story.
Whether it's accurate or not either.
That's
we'll put it out there.
That's right. That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about now. Hadn't been that long ago in 2025 that you were in a heated race for the mayorship in Sylacauga, and you know you're the executive director of the CDA, and you're working hand in hand with the current mayor. How's that working out?
Well, you know, Jimmy Dale, the election was so close, and you'd almost lose to a blowout than it be so close. But what that tells us is that you know, we're both seen and noticed and have made contributions to our community that people are aware of. And I had a choice after the election. You know, you can sull up and
be bitter, you know,
and be bitter and sell everything and get out of Sylacauga. But this is my town. This is where I grew up, and I love this city. And being a follower of Christ, that kind of spirit is not in me. We are to maintain a spirit of hope. And so obviously, the board had still been pursuing me to step up into the executive role of leadership. And after they met with Matt, I met with Matt. Obviously, there was some uneasiness in the beginning because you're concerned of how those things will go. But I got to be honest with you. Man, this is speaking with Matt, and we've gotten more support over the past 6-7 months with the CDA. And forward thinking than we have ever experienced, and we're working very, very well together. We both have a very progressive mindset in terms of growing our city, and it seems that we have a lot more in common regarding ideologies and how to make that happen than it might have appeared during the election. When you're running for an election, you're running to win. And so a lot of times you're concentrating on the differences. And that's a sad reality. But now, being, you know, both mature, godly men, we're focused on moving our city forward and working together. And it's going outstandingly well, I have to say. He's been the first mayor, to my knowledge, in my tenure with the CDA, that we've ever had attend one of our board meetings. And that was exciting. It was a great meeting that evening. We've got a lot on the table with the CDA right now that's in development. And I'm very, very excited about the future and what we're going to be able to accomplish.
Talk a little bit more in depth about the CDA. What is it, and what is your role?
Well, the CDA is, you know, obviously the Commercial Development Authority of Sylacauga as defined by Alabama State Code. We cover the entire footprint of the city of Sylacauga. A lot of people used to have the mentality that we just focused on downtown, but it's not. We focus on commercial development and residential development throughout the municipality. We're able to do things that a city just simply can't do. You know, a city is not allowed to buy and invest in property, to lease property, to rent property, buy and remodel, resell, but the CDA can. And so that's a large part of where we focus on naturally. And then, of course, you know, tonight we have the moratorium on the vape, tobacco, and alcohol sales ready. The attorneys have approved it, and so we'll be putting that in front of City Council tonight. I think that's something that's much needed for our town. And we've got a lot of other things that are going. I'm excited to
One
announce.
thing we want to talk about that's not really exciting to me and not really exciting to a lot of people is the drama that's being played out on Highway 280 with the situation with the dogs there. And you know, being executive director of the Community Development Authority, you understand more than most about the importance of getting this right out there.
Absolutely. You know, looking at it from the economic perspective, and that's going to be the standpoint I'm going to come at this with. You know, we've already lost a $45 million deal because Sylacauga was made famous for all the wrong reasons during the quote-unquote Haitian crisis. And now...
You did say 45 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 45 million. Yeah. Now we have several other irons in the fire. And I certainly, and we certainly do not need to risk those things by once again making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And there are things about this that are disturbing. You know, first of all, economically, it's speaking, I was with a developer just last week, and I won't say where we were at, but we have 6 stray dogs walk up on us. You know, this developer asked the question, you know, what about this? I said, well, we're working on that. We're working toward a solution. So people do notice. It does affect us locally, whether you or economically, whether people want to admit it or not. But you know, some say those dogs may attack. Some say, oh, they'll lay down, let you rub their bellies or whatever. I don't know. But what I do know is that we have account after account after account of people who have tried to go into a store where these dogs were and were made nervous or afraid and got back in their cars and left. Not everyone is a dog-friendly person. There's a lot of folks that have real phobias, excuse me, and they're afraid. They don't. If a dog gets between them and a door, they'll go back to their car. We certainly don't need that happening to our businesses in town. So that's one area that it does affect us economically. We need to take a look at what necessary. And I understand. I don't know if you saw it, but there was the mayor put out a social media message yesterday, and he said they've got a plan in process with the Greater Birmingham Humane Society. I look forward to hearing that. And regarding the other situation where all of this, I think, kind of went awry, Jimmy, I'm going to tell you something. The dogs disturbed me less than the leak. Whoever leaked this document, stop it. Because this, if you'll recall, when I was running for mayor, I said one of the biggest things I want to do was get city council out of City Hall. And what I meant by that is we don't need them discussing matters with department heads. They need one boss, and that's the mayor. And also a part of that is a lot of times, especially with the CDA, we have things come across our table that we need to introduce, and it needs to be held in the strictest of confidence. And I've got to be able to trust that when those things go out, that they can be held in confidence. And right now, it's this kind of stuff that makes me distrust the process. And I would imagine for the mayor, it does too. And it sounds weird, I guess, me kind of defending him, but I'm just saying, you should be able to trust the process. But
he found out the hard way.
He found out the very hard way. So for whatever reason, that was leaked out. If you thought it was in the best source of public interest or not, well, that's not your place or decision to make. That's a collaborative decision that needs to be made within the entirety of the city council. And when you don't allow those things, then you're trying to preempt the outcome and sway everything to the direction that you want it to go. I don't think there's a person in this town that realistically wants to see any dogs killed on spot. That's not practical. It's not safe. It opens up a liability door that we simply do not want. I think that just went forward and was put out there. Now, if the mayor made a mistake, it was that he did trust the process. And I think probably he'll make sure that whatever he sends out in the future is public announcement ready.
That's a good way to put it, that is for sure. Bryan Taunton, Executive Director of the CDA, with us for a few more minutes this morning. So what's some of the projects you got on the table now?
Well, we have the moratorium done. We're in process of
Explain that moratorium briefly.
Basically, we're just we're not going to the moratorium will ban any new development of vape shops, tobacco shops, or alcohol quick stops like coming into our city. Right now, we have a high number, and we want to slow that down just because it reflects poorly on our city when investors look at our community. That's one of the things that they look at. And the growing number of those things signifies a downfall in the quality of life of a community. So we want to make sure that we regulate that and we're able to control that. That's the whole purpose of the moratorium. Other things that we have going on, we're in process of creating an urban renewal directive, which we hope to have City Council vote on. That's going to give the Commercial Development Authority the ability to go into different areas and do things under a blanketed directive by the City Council, which opens the door to grant opportunities for us, opens the door for us to be able to set up some private-public partnerships with various investors who might want to come in, and that's where the city makes an investment. The CDA kind of helps to manage that project, and the developer has their investment, be it property or a monetary investment. Then outside of that, I can't go into the full detail of it, but I can say that we are within a frog's hair of presenting a major development opportunity to the city. And I'm just going to say, remember the name Whitestone, because this will be a major development. We're looking at upwards to 65 to 70 garden homes, some townhouses in that. And several other things will be a part of that development in a very, very strategic location in our city, which is going to open the door for a lot more opportunity.
Bryan, we appreciate you coming by this morning, Executive Director of the Community Development Authority, or Commercial Development Authority, and we'll do this again. We appreciate you dropping by.
Thank you so much.
Got more Daybreak coming up right after you watch this.